Welcome back to another console collector video.
Hey everybody, Console Collector here. Today, we're going to take a look at 10 underrated and underappreciated games in my collection. Now these 10 games are in no particular order. These 10 games are games that I enjoy and you normally just don't hear anybody talk about. Alright, let's get started.
Number 10.
Test 1, 2.
Alright, we're going to kick this off here with Comix Zone for the Sega Genesis. Comix Zone is an action platforming kind of beat 'em up. It's got a very unique art style, mainly because you're playing pretty much on a comic strip. It's a lot of fun, and it's a real shame that you don't hear many people talk about it. So once you clear one little panel here of enemies, you can basically choose the direction you want to go to the next comic panel. You see a lot of your traditional comic style speech bubbles there. Like, I'm gonna break your legs and all that, which is really cool. The other really neat thing about this is enemies are drawn into the screen in real time, as you see here. It's like you're playing a comic book in real time. It kind of breaks the fourth wall, as you can see, that I'm actually destroying the enemies and breaking through the comic panels. This is just such a really fun, awesome game, and I really highly recommend checking it out. I really like the death animation here. It really just crosses you out. Number 9. So here we have Sheep for the original PlayStation. What is Sheep? The best way to compare it is it's similar to Lemmings, but a little more complex. The goal of the game is to take your little herd of sheep here and navigate them through different courses and get them to the end of the level to safety. Now along the way, there's a bunch of different hazards that can kill your sheep. This here is one of the early levels, so it's not too difficult. Kind of gives you a good feel of the game, gets the hang of it. But it's surrounded by electric fences at the top there. Also by that machine there. If you guide your sheep in front of it, they get sucked in and chopped up. I just took a little bit of a shock there on the fence. The more sheep you have, obviously it's a little more hard to herd them. There's a decent amount of challenge to it. As you progress through the game, obviously it gets more challenging. You get like a straggler like that. And then finally at the end of the level you load them up into the truck. Number 8. Smart Ball for the Super Nintendo. I talk about Smart Ball quite often on this channel. I really love this game. It has a great soundtrack, such as the music you're hearing here. It's one of my favorite video game musics of all time. The premise of the game is you're this little blue ball here. He can stretch really tall. He can go thin, slide through tubes like that. It's a pretty fun platforming game. I think the reason why this game isn't too well known is it suffers from bad game title syndrome, where it has kind of a bad name. Like, you hear Smart Ball, is that a game you really want to pick up and play? Not really. It's a shame though, because this is such a great game. It's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. What's cool about this guy here, his name is actually Jerry, and in Japan, this game is called Jerry Boy. So I feel like it did better there than having the North American title Smart Ball. But he can jump up like that, and he can hold items inside of him like that ball, and you can fire them at enemies. As well as you can jump on enemies and squish them down, as I was doing there. One of the most unique things about Jerry in Smart Ball is he can go sticky, and he can climb up walls and even climb along roofs, which allows for some really cool, unique gameplay. The levels here are very diverse as well. As you've seen previously, a water level. This is like a weird round moon level. And then you got some basic levels like this. Great atmosphere in the game. Lots of fun. I really recommend checking out Smart Ball. Number 7. NHL Hits 2002. What? A sports game and an underrated and underappreciated games list? Crazy, I know. This is no ordinary sports game. I'm personally not a big, huge sports fan, let alone sports game fan, but NHL Hits 2002 is really fun. This game does not take itself too seriously. As you can see by some of the teams here, you got clowns, gladiators, you got aliens, pirates, you got sharks, and snowmen, even ponies. It's got the original NHL rosters, obviously, and the proper teams, but these fantasy teams, like the zombies there, that's what really makes this game a lot of fun, is you can have aliens and snowmen playing hockey together. Now, in most hockey games, they're pretty realistic, and I personally find it's pretty difficult to score. And that's what I like about this game, is you can actually get goals. Here you can see it's got a whole bunch of different unique stadiums, as well as original arenas from real life. This game is one of our circle of friends' favorite games, just because we like to throw it on and have a fun, silly game of hockey. Now, don't get me wrong, you can play with real teams, and this game is still great without all the goofy characters. I just personally like all the weird characters. It has a real uniqueness to it. And there you see, it's possible to score. Maybe I'm just bad at hockey games, but yeah. There was one game where I played with a friend, and we ended up both having over 20 goals in our game each, which is crazy. I'd never get that in a more traditional, realistic hockey game. This game here also features fights. And an alien punching out a snowman. What other game can you do that? NHL Hits 2002 was released on the GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. This is the GameCube version that you're looking at here. Definitely check it out. Even if you're not a sports fan like myself, I think you would have a lot of fun with this game. Number 6. Snow Bros. Another game I talk a lot about. Longtime fans of the channel will know this is one of my favorite games of all time and one of my favorite childhood games. This game originally came out in the arcade. This is the NES port of it. The premise is you're a snowman and you turn your enemies into snowballs and you gotta clear the stage. What's cool is you can turn one enemy into a snowball and push the snowball around, and if you do it properly you can actually clear the whole stage with one clean sweep, giving you bonus items and power-ups. Which here I have the quick speed moving power-up. Every 10th level of this game, up to level 50, is a boss fight. This is the first boss fight here. So it breaks up kind of the monotony of it, which is good. And after every boss fight, you get a cool bonus stage. Essentially, it's just slots, and you're taking your chance trying to earn letters to get more lives or just straight up free lives. This game is 2-player, so you guys can play 2-player co-op at the same time. It's a really fun, quick pick up and play game with a friend. There is only 50 stages in the NES version, so it's not a long game, but again, it's pretty fun. Number 5. This game contains scenes of explicit itchiness. Where have you seen a screen like that? Resident Evil, of course. But this isn't Resident Evil. This is Mr. Mosquito for the PlayStation 2.
Welcome to the home of the Yamada family.
What is Mr. Mosquito? Well, you play as a mosquito. The goal of the game is to be all stealth-like and get your victim's blood without getting caught. Kind of like what real mosquitoes do. Here I'm trying to find the sweet spot on her leg to suck the blood. Now in this game, you can't exactly just jump in and suck blood right away. Most of the times you have to turn off a light or turn on a radio, make a phone ring, things like that to confuse your victim. And then after you do things like that, it actually opens up the blood sucking option. Now here when you're sucking blood, you can see I'm filling up a meter there. That's how many canisters you have. This particular level, I have to have 2 canisters of blood. And now it's not as easy as just going in and sucking blood. You see the little pulsating meter there, it's green. As you're sucking blood, they become more aware. And you have to pull away and be careful, or else they smack you. So this one here, the bathtub level, this is one of the hardest levels in the game for me.
I see you.
If you get spotted, you go into this battle mode, as you've seen there. They're aware of you and they're trying to kill you. She's trying to spray me with the hot bath water. They have these relax points on them after the battle starts, and you have to go and basically ram yourself into these relax points or spots to get them to calm down. Then you can move back in to suck the blood. Now, if you get greedy here like me, you start sucking blood. I got 3 canisters here I need to fill up. And again, if you're not careful, they become aware and suddenly they smack you. And then you're done, just like that. Number 4. Nayland Scale for the original Game Boy. This is a really good, fun action platformer puzzle game. The goal of the game is to get across the stage and into these little doors. Pretty simple, huh? Well, obviously, as you progress through the game, it gets harder and harder. You can shoot your nails into enemies to kill them. You also use your nails to help scale the level, sticking them into the floor and the walls to climb your way up. Now, in later levels, there's metal enemies and metal walls, so it's not as simple as just running up the walls with your nails and getting to the end. This game can get real challenging as you progress. Got some real head-scratching levels in this game for sure. As you can see here, a lot of the blocks take 2 hits, so it always gives you that kind of cushion. There are levels where the blocks are already pre-cracked, and again, that's where some of the challenge really comes in. You also get a double jump, which helps out a lot as well. This game is never talked about, and it's a real shame because it's a really great original Game Boy title. Number 3. The Punisher. This is the original Xbox version. It did come out on the PS2 as well. This game is brutal, as in violent, which is to be expected with a Punisher game. The unique thing about this game is these interrogation points, where you can grab a hold of somebody and you have all these different ways to interrogate them to get information. You can do simple things such as choke them out, punch them in the head, or just shove them away and shoot them. But then there's parts where you get special interrogations, and that's where the real fun begins. Again, this game is just brutal, like that. Done with you, shoot them. So it's definitely not for the faint at heart, or obviously children. So here's one of the special interrogations. You have a lot of control over this. The goal is to break them or to get the information. Once they're broken, you can choose to let them go or you can kill them. And here I decided to shove his head into the grinder. That is just one of many different special interrogations. This one's funny kinda because you're just literally slamming this window in this guy's torso neck area. I chose to let this guy go. But yeah, you could choose to keep slamming it on until he dies. Again, so many awesome different interrogations. Those 2 are just the tip of the iceberg. Definitely check this game out.
You're a user and a loser. Get some rehab.
Number 2. This is Dementium the Ward for the Nintendo DS. Now, I don't have a good way to capture DS footage directly, so I apologize for the filming, but I did my best here. Dementium is a survival horror game for the original DS. That's right, a horror game on the DS. This game has a very great atmosphere. It's spooky. It's got a Silent Hill feel to it. I really enjoy it. This game takes place in an insane asylum. Don't let these kind of silly looking enemies discourage you. This is a little bit later in the game, so you don't initially run into those enemies, but I can admit the enemies look a little on the cheesy side. But the music and the visuals and the overall atmosphere is just wonderful in this game. You get a variety of weapons in this, from guns to melee weapons and even a saw. The one complaint I do have about Dementium is the controls. You have to use the bottom touchpad to basically help you strafe sideways, and help you move. It acts as a second joystick. It's not terrible. It's actually pretty well made. It's just a bit of a learning curve that's a little tough to pick up. But again, once you figure out the controls and get a hang of it after about 10 minutes or so, you're good to go. Number 1. Hammering Hero for the PSP. Again, I don't have a way to directly capture PSP footage, so I apologize for the filming. Hammering Hero is a side-scrolling action beat-em-up, I guess you could say. Maybe action platformer. A lot of the enemies don't take too many hits. It's very unique. This game is made by Atlas, so unfortunately it's a little on the expensive side and rare. But it's a lot of fun. It's silly, it's goofy. This game is quite challenging, mainly due to the fact that it's a one-hit kill for you. So you really gotta be careful and take enemies with caution. The premise is so simple, you're literally just making your way through the stage and cracking the enemies with a hammer. Hammering Hero, really fun game. I highly recommend checking it out, along with all 10 of these games on this list. They're all a lot of fun. You don't normally hear people talk about them, but I really think you should give them a shot. Alright, that's going to wrap up today's video. Be sure to follow me on social media. Instagram, _console_collector. On Facebook, Console Collector. On Twitch, Console Collector. On Twitter, Console Collector 1. And now you can come over to Discord and chat any time of the day. The link is in the description below. Go ahead and check out my other videos. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody for watching. I am the Console Collector. And until the next video, happy gaming.